Okay, welcome back everybody to Coffee and Art and a Clean Studio in the morning. I'm Dee Dee. Thanks for being here everybody. We already did a segment on Happy Mail and a new color book. And now with all the awesome napkins that CB and CB Carol and Blondie, Blonde Woman Stamping, between the two of them in this last Happy Mail and some tissue paper, here's the napkins we had to choose from. Well, I mean, I got other napkins too, but they're whittling down. I do send them out all the time. But now we have all this awesomeness to play with. So I was talking on the last segment about doing another napkin journal, instead of just using my big giant Moleskine. So this one, which I've deconstructed, and that just means I tore it apart in their individual pages. The size, let me get my clear ruler on the right side. This one is 12 by 15. And I've taken it all apart. And so you can see the pages are all loose in there. So I'll show you a couple I got to get my mind off magazine journal because that's what we did last week. Napkin journals and napkin art books. So what we're going to do, and I'll still show you what's in the big one here, but I want to use this old day book, a faux leather from what year did I say it was? 2009. My sister sent me this for my birthday in 2009, and I didn't use it for a planner date book. But now we're going to use it to make it into a napkin journal. So, yeah, there's a few pages in there that are decorative, but they're pretty much all blank. And, these are literally dated specifically for that year. So there was January, Monday the 26th. It's not like a generic, you can put any day in there. It's specifically to 2009. So, I'm not going to use it, obviously. But what we're going to do is we're going to use it, turn it into a napkin journal. Some of the other napkin journals that we've used are these big pages. And let me just pull out a couple of the ones we've used. Here's one. So this was a page out of the big Moleskine that I just showed you. The lighting got a little dark. When the sun goes over the house, maybe that's a little better. I hope we're still in focus. So anyway, this is a napkin right here, right? A napkin, then we do paint, a little bit of collage, paint, drippage. And so this is using a napkin as the base for a piece of art. All right, and we're also been doing color book pages. We've done a couple of those. Here's one where we've used a color book page from Crane. Hang on, I got to get her books. I can't remember her first name. Juliet Crane. We've used some of the pages out of the Juliet Crane Big Monster book. And, and you can use napkins, so a little bit of napkinage in there and here. And so you can use napkins and color book pages or collage images, either one or both, okay? So it's a mixed media process. The little owls are out of the color book. She's out of the color book. But we use napkins as the background. The big flowers are all napkins. And then paint, right? The thing is about doing something it's big, all right? So, you don't get a lot of, this is like a big one project at a time. Well, I want to try to do something in a smaller book like this where we can maybe get more pages, at least started. This is going to be a brand new napkin journal. So we might not get a lot of finished work done, but we're going to start it as a napkin journal. And then we're also going to do a napkin giveaway. Okay, all right, so let's see what else is in here. So you can see here's a couple of pages where it's just the napkin glued on, okay? This is how they start. You can have them sprayed with some ink or paint, just scrape some paint on first, or just glue the napkins on and then start scraping paint and putting other things on. All right, let's see, I've got another one in here from There's another one that we did with the Juliet Crane monster, big monster girl book. Well, they're not big girl monsters, it's big monsters, and it's just all different kinds of her little, she calls them monsters, but I just think they're cute little girls. And taken a bit of that with napkins. See all the flowers? That's all napkins. All this is napkins down here. And now I painted in the clouds, painted in the background. So you add the black paint, the blue clouds, and the white. All that's just paint. So you can take multiple media and put it and make it a mixed media project using napkins, color book pages, collage bits, and paint, right? Okay, one other one that we've done with the color book page, and this one was out of the Somerset Studio color book, where we took this girl out of Somerset Studio. All this is napkin, some stamped dots there. All this is napkin. So you can just do all kinds of mixed media, right? So again, I've got all kinds of big pages partially painted and partially napkins on them in this big journal. But I wanted to, so you can see, like I said, it's big. But I want to do something a little bit on a smaller scale. So depending on what you feel like doing, if you want to do a big page, do a big page. If you want to do a small page, do a small page. All right, so let me kind of throw this to the side, and we'll start putting down some napkins. And y'all know I have this here for focus, so as we go, because the camera doesn't like, it likes to flash out. All right, one other thing I wanted to show you, and I as far as I know, I thought of this, at least I thought of it back in the day. This is at least, how many years ago? It was way before I streamed, so it was back in the scrapbooking days. And I love books that you could, do multiple things with. Well, I had all kinds of leftover papers off of 12 by 12 papers. So what I did is I used those 4-inch bits of leftover paper, punched a hole in it, and with the giant brads, and I just put clear packing tape over it to keep it from coming apart and to keep from catching on that brad. But these are those big 2-inch brads. The big 2-inch brads. But if you put the brad in through the hole punched all the way through that paper, this is what you can do with it. You can have a book where you can flip like this and draw. Because this will go all the way to the back. Look, see, let me get a brown one. See, you can flip it all the way to the back. So you can sketch, draw, write, make a written journal out of this, or a combination of both, and it's metal. So, now I'm sure with some wear and tear, I did put the hole back enough. Don't put it right on the edge where if you keep flipping it, you're going to tear the page out, right? And all this is cardstock. So it's not, it's scrapbook cardstock. So it's not going to tear like if you did it with paper, although I have made some paper ones too. But this is all heavier paper, so it's not going to just rip right out, because this is those flat brads, okay? They're flat, this, you can see right there on the back, that you just open up, you just poke through, you punch your holes, and you can see how far down, so at least a ½ inch, right? So that they don't come apart. And then I just put plastic packing tape, the packing tape on to kind of make sure that doesn't catch or come out. And it'll stop it from twirling. Because this can twirl if you don't make it stop, right? So if you put packing tape on it, then it won't spin. I mean, the brad won't spin. You can still spin the papers, right? So these are 4 by 12. This is a 4 by 12. But you can make them any size. But you can get a lot. Look how much paper, and that's 2 inches of, well, maybe not quite 2 inches of paper in there. 1.5 inches. Yeah. So you can make your own little, book that you can either write in, flip through, whatever. It's probably very good for a collage book, because it's going to get it'd get fat. I mean, you could probably do it if you wanted to, if you wanted a thick, fluffy book. But it was, to make it flip like this really easily, you really don't want to put a lot of collagey, thick stuff on there. All right, so there we go. There's that idea. All right, so now let's get back over to using this. All right, so I think the first thing I want to do is I'll probably cover up the calendar here, although it's got 2009. I like to keep it somewhere, the information of the book, because somebody's going to say, well, what year did that book come out? Who published it? And if I got it all, covered up, you're not going to be able to. Yeah, it's a good traveling art drawing book, sketchbook, especially landscape, right? But you can make it any size. It doesn't have to be long. It can be, but it just flips out better that way. All right, so anyway, I think I'll start with this page. Again, I really have no plan. I don't have any color book pages picked out or colored or ready to go. I just want to start with doing some napkin gluing on a few pages, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so we'll do that for a while. If I get inspired to stop and work on a particular page, we'll do that too. But we got this big stack of napkins, and I want to put them, in the book. All right, so let me go ahead and get out some matte medium. And I use golden matte medium, and I put the golden matte medium in a dish soap bottle, and that's Sunset Carol's idea when she visited me, and so that's what I do now. I keep my matte medium in a dish soap bottle, so that you can just squeeze out what you want, right? Now, as long as you don't get it too crusted around the rim there, it'll close and it won't clog up, okay? I take the lid off to fill up the bottle, but it just makes it a handy squeeze bottle for matte medium, right? And then I keep all my glue brushes in one water, a coffee jar, and they stay in water so they don't harden up. Okay, so they'll stay soft. Now, they're not good for paint or anything else, but they're good for just glue. But they'll stay soft if you keep them in water. These are the only brushes I keep in water. And you can see they're crusty, rusty, yucky, but they're just for glue, nothing else. I don't use these for paint, and I don't keep my paint brushes, which, by the way, I just got a new set of. Got the Artist Loft set at Michael's over the weekend because I needed some more angle brushes, and I go through a lot of brushes, and I buy the cheap ones because they are just fine for what I do with my mixed media. My nice brushes, I don't even know where I put them. Where are they? I have a roll of nice brushes for oil painting, which I put up somewhere. Now I don't even remember where I put them up. I'm not spotting them right now because I haven't used them in a while. But I have a nice roll of nice oil painting brushes that I don't use because I'm not really oil painting. Where did I put them? I'll have to look around for them. I'm not sure where I stuck them. Probably with my oil painting paint somewhere. Anyway, so I don't really worry about the brushes, what I'm saying. All right, so let me just kind of set this to the side. Now, I will need some baby wipes. Keep my hands clean. And I think Jean told me, I forget even where she said she got the tip, but if you take a piece of double-sided tape, okay, double-sided tape, open up your napkin, you want to take off the backings. There's usually two backings. If you take a piece of double-sided tape and put it on there, they'll come right apart. See that? All right? And I don't keep the inner core. All right, let me get another piece here. Okay, and just put it on the edge. And it'll separate. Because I used to do this with a pokey tool. Poke a hole in the paper to grab it. But look, there you go. Okay, some of my scrolly stuff here. Hang on, guys, let me scroll. Okay, so yeah. All right, now a couple things about gluing napkins down. This is not going to matter so much. I mean, you can probably see a little bit of the lines. You can see some of the numbers. You can see through it some, which I don't care. This is a cream color, kind of a creamy color paper, as opposed to, let me get a sheet of white paper. But I want you to notice, when you do napkin journaling, it's best to put your napkins first on before you put a lot of paint down, because it will change the color of your napkin. It'll change the vibrancy of the napkin. Now, this is not going to matter as much, but I'll still show you the difference. Let's put the black right here. All right, so if I had a black piece of paper, I was going to glue the napkin down, or if I had paint on it, dark or light, and I put my napkin down on it, just look at the color of the napkin there. Can you see how it kind of grays out the napkin? Compare that to now just even the cream color. Look at the difference in the color here and here. So you can see how much more vibrant the image is when you glue it on white, or in this case I'm gluing it on off-white. I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference between the off-white and the white. It'll be some, but you can see there again, you can see a little bit of difference between the off-white background and the pure white background. So just so you know that when you glue your napkins down, you want to glue them on a white, or in this case I'm going to go with cream, but it does change the vibrancy of the image. Can y'all see that? Yeah, it's a much better if you glue it on a light background, okay? Especially because look at the difference there, okay? But you totally lose the vibrancy of the image. Now, some people say, well, why don't you just leave the white background on? Well, I'll tell you, the main reason is when you when you put down your matte medium and then you glue your napkin down, you're not getting in between those layers. Remember, there's 3 layers. And as much as you get on there, and I guess you probably could do it if you really took a lot of time to make sure every layer was completely saturated. But if you don't, your image is going to it'll pull up from the middle. It'll pull up because you haven't glued down all the layers. Do you know what I mean, Vern? So if you're going to you want to take off those backings because they won't all glue down. Okay, but there's the difference in the brightness. Hey, Sammy Jammy. All right, so yeah, we're at the napkin party. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm just going to do a few napkins, and I want to glue some down. I'm not going to do anything on the cover page there. And again, you're going to see the words through it, which that is a cool effect in itself, right? You can see a little bit of text through it. You can't see much. The other thing that you want to be careful of when you glue your napkin down is, especially with, how when I glue my collage bits down, like let's say I take a collage bit and I want to glue it down, I put the matte medium on the substrate, right? And on the back and over the top. Well, with a napkin, you can't put it on the back. It's so thin, you can't turn it over and turn it over again. It'll rip. You just can't do that. The napkin is the only time I don't put it on the back of the napkin. All right, so in this case, I'm just going to kind of go right almost to the edge, and I do need some wax paper between them. Let me get some fresh. Because I don't want to glue my pages together. Get a couple pieces of wax. I got my fan blowing behind me, so everything's wanting to fly away. Napkins and everything else. So I'm just going to put something behind each side here, just so I don't glue them together. Should have made that one a little bigger. Okay, we'll just be careful. Okay, it's just going to be to the edge here. All right, and napkins I don't mind going over the center of the book. I usually don't like gluing things over the center of a book because it'll start not only getting thick, but it'll start cracking the image. But a napkin is so thin, you can go over the center spine. All right, so what I'm going to do, though, to kind of make it easier on myself, I do want a little edge along there like that. The napkin is bigger than what I want. Now, you can do one of two things. You can just go ahead and glue it down, or you can trim it and then glue it down. But I want to kind of make it a hodgepodge. I don't want it perfectly, so I'm going to kind of tear, well, actually, I'm going to cut because I want to keep these eggs kind of all together. You can tear it if you want it kind of a ripped edge, but you got to take more time if you're going, you got to take some time when you rip things, okay? All right, so I'm going to glue that down, but I want to overlay it. Okay, so first off, I'm going to put some matte medium over the top, and you got to be careful. See how it's tearing right there? It'll tear real easy. You got to be gentle, gentle. Okay, but I want it to be, I don't want it to be like the perfect square of the napkin. I'm going to overlay, put another layer kind of half over this egg, okay? All right, so I'm going to put some there. And I want another kind of strip here, not really trying to match it. Just want I want some layers of eggs. So I'm just going to keep layering it on. Got any questions? Put them in caps. Thanks everybody for being here. We're making a brand new napkin journal. Again, I'm going to do a lot of gluing today, and I'll try to maybe do one page as far as like a finished page. But I want to, and this is what I would do if y'all weren't here. I would spend a couple hours just gluing a whole bunch of napkins in, right? So I'm going to take this, and while this is all wet, I'm just going to glue another strip on the edge there. And what we'll do is I'll trim this off after I hit it with the heat gun, okay? And you can scissor it or you can tear it. Either way, you'll see that'll just tear right off. Either way. All right, but I do want, and you can't take a, what do you call it, card. You know how I scrape down my collage? You can't do that with napkins. You can't take a card and scrape it down because it'll just rip it all up. It'll rip it. Rip it good. Bye, AJ. Thanks for stopping in. Anybody else I might have missed? All right, so this is what we're going to do for a while. Just make sure it's all glued down, and it will have texture. It's not going to be, when you do napkin journaling, it's not going to be flat. No matter what you do, you're going to feel the texture, right, of the napkin. It's just the nature of napkin arting. Okay, oh, got a little bit right there. I want to just kind of make sure I've got everything mashed down. Okay, now I'm going to hit it with the heat gun. With a sip of coffee. Would they bump the price up, Carrie? I missed that. Texture is good, yes. But then what you can do on this page, I'll give you an example here. As soon as I finish drying, it does take a little bit to dry because it's almost like cloth, right? It's almost like fabric. Oh, deli paper, yeah. It's almost like fabric, so it takes a little bit more to dry. If you see something that didn't quite get enough matte medium on it, you can, when you hit it with the heat gun, you can see where you need to kind of add a little bit more glue. Yeah, I'm sure you can wad it up in a knot, like you could paper and then smash it out. But I don't really want to lose all the detail of the images. You know, even though I've overlaid them, I can still, well, we'll do one like that just to test it. I mean, I don't want it so textured I can't collage on top of, right? Because that's what I'm going to do with it, is I'm going to add layers on top. This is like the background layer. Can you hear me okay, Carrie? Does it sound all right? And you'll probably want to put some wax paper between it until it's 100% dry, right? Because it's still damp. It's still damp. And, you know, even trying to cut the edges here, like with my scissors, is probably going to be a little tricky because the napkin is still damp. Now, you could probably just kind of rip that off, wet it, even, you know, like wet the edge and tear it, right? Whatever's easiest. I just like to wait till things are dry and cut them. I have to turn this upside down so I can do this side. But it's still a little damp. But you can do like you can tear watercolor paper. You can wet the edge and make it and rip it. Okay, so there you go. So you can kind of see that. Now what I like to do is something like this, and it's damp. I can feel it's still wet, guys. So I want to make sure I put some tissue paper between this before I go to the next page. So what I'm thinking is like, you know, get back here. And the inspired, like the inspired nature, which I've already cut a bunch of stuff out of it and used it. But you can find you, let's just say one of these birds or, well, let's see. Could be something like this. That might be a good one. I'm trying to just think some feathers would be good. I'm really thinking of a bird. Here's where I've started coloring a butterfly. Could be it could be anything actually, but I was kind of, here we go. This is what I was kind of going for. All right. And I kind of really like some of this too. We'll keep it simple on this first page. So what I would do is I would color this page. The best way is not to cut it out, glue it on, and then color it, because remember, this is texture, okay? This is textured. If I try to color this bird with the texture under it, it's going to pick that up. So if you start color penciling on this while it's glued here, you're going to pick up texture of the bird. Like, here, let me get where's that scrap paper? Let me get a piece of pen, let me get a pencil. I've got piles of stuff. Okay, so look. See, this is the texture of the napkin. Right? There's the texture of the napkin. If I try to color a bird, if it's glued down in the book, I'm going to get all this. You're not going to get a smooth color, a smooth blend. So you want to do your color book pages or color book images. Color them separately, right? Color them separately, then cut them out and put them on. Now, I'm not going to glue them on. I'm just going to cut them out to put them on the page just so you can see how you can use them on the page. And I should get my littler scissors out. And if you have free images, free clip art images that you find online, you know, I would recommend printing them out on thinner paper if you're going to glue them in a book. If you print them out on cardstock, they're not gonna be nice and flat in your book, but it's totally up to you. But don't color them in the book. Am I making sense? It could be a cool effect, bird feather effect, yeah. Okay, so I might color him, put him in here, put my own branches going across, paint my own branches, paint my own sky, because I don't mind covering up some of the napkin. So I'm going to glue some pages in the book, some napkins in the book, and then we might go back and work a finished page. with like putting in our own trees or something and our bird, just so you can kind of see. Okay. But anyway, like I said, it's best to color it on a, on your smooth surface or even in the book, then cut them out and use them as an image. Or if you have a clip art, free clip art or whatever, you're cutting out. It could be a bird out of, it doesn't have to be a color book page. Let me get a, just find one here. Okay, so here's a bird out of a calendar page. All right, if you don't want to color one, you could just, use one out of one of your images that you've saved up. I'm not going to go to a whole lot of trouble here, but I want you to kind of get the idea of the different things you can use. So if you don't want to color your own pages, you can do your own mixed media collage pages using your napkin as a base and in whatever book you want to use. So whatever you decide to do, right? Now, if I was going to use something like this, that's this colorful and contrast, because you'll kind of get lost in there, is I'd probably paint some of this out so that he would stand out a little better. But it's totally up to whatever style you're liking to use, right? So I'm going to set these two birds aside for now. And again, I don't want to glue these pages together, so let me get some more scrap pieces of wax paper. Got some here somewhere. Here we go. I try to keep, quite a bit of it. Once the paint's dry on it, but the only thing is my fan is blowing all this stuff around. Got a fan going behind me. Okay, so let's put this one here. All right, so I just want to put a piece of wax paper so I don't glue the pages together till they're 100% dry, because they're not 100% dry. All right, so let's just go on to the next page. Okay, let's move the wax paper to the next page. And you don't have to go in order. Actually, I'd probably recommend going some in the front, maybe 2, 3, or 4 in the front, and then going from the back, 2, 3, or 4 in the back, because otherwise your spine's going to get wonky. Like I showed you on the magazine journals, it's going to warp it. So you probably want to go front, back, front, back, front, back. If you're going to just do a whole book like this, when you work on moss with those little images, I have to sweat because the fan blows. I know, right? Well, one of the things about where I'm sitting right now, Vicky's my high back chair, is blocking the fan. But if I turn my chair at all, the fan reaches the desk. So yeah. All right, so let's go with this. I love this one. And I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to pick out some, want to use some napkins. Let me get a piece of double-sided tape. I think I'm going to have to get another roll out. This roll's almost done. Double-sided tape, just to grab and separate the bits, right? There's the first layer. And I know some people save this. If I was doing a paper pulp, you remember when you could do paper pulp and put them in the little molds and make your own little paper pulp molds? This would probably be awesome if you're doing paper pulp molds, but I'm not, so I'm not keeping that. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to take another piece of double-sided tape and separate the second layer. Okay, and it just usually, you just grab it. It usually comes pretty much apart pretty easy. Now, did I put it too far in that I can't grab it? Come on, baby. Come to mama. You can do it. There we go. Oh, that one's not wanting to separate as easily, but there we go. Okay. I'll glue one more and then I'll do a napkin giveaway because a lot of y'all have been here for, the other segment too. and I want y'all to be able to be a part of the giveaway if you're so inclined to have some napkinage. All right, so see, this is a nice size because I can cover up the whole book if I want, which I kind of do. The reason I didn't cover up the whole page here is because I wanted to keep that little bit of border. That border was pretty, so I just edged it right to there. But if I want to cover up the whole thing, all right, now you may not want to. You may want to keep some of the dates and stuff because it kind of looks cool. But I don't want it to look like I'm assuming it's going to be a planner, because it's not. The dates mean nothing, right? So I think I'll just do the whole thing. All right, so let me squeeze out some more matte medium. And I got my wax paper. Let's put wax paper between so I don't glue the pages shut. Let me move my camera. It looks like it moved a little bit. Okay. Try to get it to stop swaying. All right, so I'm just going to cover the whole thing. And I do want to be, I don't want to take too much time. I don't want this to dry, especially with 6 lights and a fan. So I want to kind of move a little fast. But, you don't have to, again, any project I do, you never have to go as fast as I'm doing on a stream. I go fast for, a couple of reasons, especially if paint's drying really fast or if I'm running out of time, y'all see me rush, okay? Now I'm going to take this napkin, and I like the B. I'm just going to look at the way I want it to face here. If you want it this way. Again, I'm trying to keep the fan from blowing it around. And you only usually get one shot at laying it down because it's going to stick, ain't coming up. All right? So I'm going to kind of start with the spine there. Put it in the spine and then flatten it out. Got it? Now I'm going to mash it down as best I can before I start gluing the top layer. Just helps it adhere really well. All right, so now I'm going to take my top coat. And again, it's going to be wet front and back, so you can't be rubbing it too much. You're going to tear it. Okay. So there we go. But after you get a few pages done, you'll probably get bored doing just the napkins after a while. So you want to stop and work on a, mixed media project so you feel like you're accomplishing something in the book other than just gluing napkins. Although I can easily get on a roll. I can easily be watching a long video, because I love watching long videos when I'm working. I could easily be watching a 2-hour stream and do, 20 pages. Just like, because I'll just keep going nonstop until I get a whole bunch done. Just don't forget to put some wax paper between it so you're not, gluing your pages together. Because, sometimes especially if I'm streaming, if I forget to wet paint or wet matte medium. I almost said Mod Podge, but I don't use Mod Podge because Mod Podge can stick your pages together. Even when it's dry, it can make your pages stick. All right, so I'm just looking to see, I'm looking at the shine of the light, making sure I have everything covered as best I can. Now I got to get out the heat gun. Oh, that's funny, accomplishing something in the book. Yeah, well, and hi, Scrap Bow, by the way. You want to feel like you're not just doing a bunch of background. You want to have a couple of pages completed so you feel like, oh, I know where I'm going with this book. I've got a couple pages done, Thanks, Vicky Schultz. We got a lot of Vickies. Yeah, I think you've left me some comments, Vicki. Thank you very much. I love YouTube comments, and I try to answer my YouTube comments. Now, on Sundays, I usually don't get to it on Sundays, but maybe Sunday nights. But I try to answer YouTube comments at least once a day. I try to answer comments at least once a day. And hi, Scrapbook Corner. I'm not sure I know your name. Thanks for being here. soon as this dries, we're going to do a giveaway, and anybody that, feels comfortable giving me their address so I can send you a giveaway. And just a FYI, anybody that sends me their address, I don't share their address with anybody, even within the group. Just so y'all know, if you give me your address for Happy Mail or your birthday cards or a giveaway, I don't share those with anybody, not any, even in the group. So just FYI that. So Carrie, if you want to put my email in there, Carrie or whoever, or Vicki or whoever's here, put my email in there. Nice to meet you, Natasha. And I do send international Happy Mail. Not as often, not big stuff, as often as I like. And if y'all don't know, I am a portrait artist. I do portrait commissions. And I forget about saying this all the time because I'm having so much fun with you guys, I forget to tell y'all that I do portraits. And so if you want to see my work, if you follow, well, you don't even have to follow me on Facebook. You just go to Dee Dee Willingham on Facebook and go to photos and then albums. And under the albums, I have all different albums, a color book album, my messy desk pictures album. I have my portrait album. I have my fan art album, and all those are public, so I don't have to follow you and you don't have to follow me to see all my work. So if you do need a portrait done, you just message me and let me know. And if you want a portrait drawing, thanks, Purple Angel. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Scrappo. So if you want to send me your address, what I'm saying is if you want to send me your address, I can put you on, the list of, so if you do win a giveaway or something, and I do try to send out art cards to every new person, but it's backed up. So I can't promise you when you'd ever get one, but I do try to send, some kind of acknowledgement to you if you're following me here on Ustream, or a regular commenter and regular watcher on YouTube. I know there's lots of people that watch, but there's some of y'all that really comment a lot, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the followers. And if you want notifications of when I'm streaming live, if you follow me on Ustream, then you should get an email notification when I go live. Not everybody does. Sometimes I think it depends on the browser you're using and all. And if Carrie wants to put in her blog YouTube list, I did put it in again in my comments on YouTube. But it's she has a kind of a general list of Ustreamers. But again, remember, if you look at Carrie's list, those streamers have come and go. Some are not regular streamers. So, don't hold Carrie responsible for those times and dates. It's totally up to the Ustreamer when they stream. So, just be aware of that. Don't say, oh, Carrie said that they come on at 9 a.m. at so-and-so, and they didn't. Well, that's the Ustreamer, not Carrie. So just so y'all know, if you do want any portraitures done, pets or people, then let me know. Yeah, and Sarah said, and some of us never stream on time. So if you follow each individual Ustreamer and they go live, you should get an email notification. You have to have that set though in your profile or whatever, that you want notifications. Because otherwise, I don't know that you just get them automatically. I think you have to check, yes, send me an email when that person goes live. If you click the follow button for all the Ustream channels, you can see them live on the following page: ustream.tv/home/following. Can you tweet that to me later, Carrie, so I can remember? Because I won't remember it right now. But well, I guess I could go back and watch my own recording. But. Thanks, Carrie, for that info. And if you're drawing something and it feels cold to the touch, it's probably still damp. Okay. All right. So now I do have it kind of glued a little bit to the wax paper, which will just kind of peel right there on the edge. I don't want to tear my paper though. Here, let's go. My page. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim off. And again, you could just wet the edge of this, the napkin, and kind of tear it off. But I just would rather cut it off. It's just as easy. All right. So I'm just going to go around here. And I do want to recommend cutting it or tearing the edges off before you go on to the next page, or you're going to find yourself gluing all your pages together with excess bits of napkin. Go to the next page and you got little bits of napkin. You're going to be gluing your pages shut a lot easier than if you had just trimmed them off. Okay, so now let me go over to the side. Turn it over. Let's get the wax paper edge off. And like I said, this can get tedious if you're doing, 20 or 30 pages or more. So you might want to do a few and stop and do a project where you feel like you're accomplishing a finished something. But I wanted to start a new journal, and everybody else said, yeah, start a new one. So we're starting a new one, so that when we do want to do a napkin journal page, we have a whole bunch of them already ready. We got them at the ready, just like my collage, the Dylusion journal. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of those ready to do collaging in. All right, so let me kind of move some of this out of the way so we can look at it, then we'll do a giveaway. All right, Carrie and Janet and Vicki, are y'all ready to herd cats? That's what we call it when we do a giveaway, because it's tricky. Oh, I got to go get my iPad too. All right, so here we go. I'm going to leave this right here, this cover page like this, just so I can remember. And this, again, this was a birthday journal ledger date book that my sister, other sister, Debbie, sent me in 2009. Was it 2009? Yeah. That I never used as a journal, but I love the book, and it's got that, ledger look to it, right? Like it's one of those, it's like a faux leather ledger. And so we're just going to make it into a napkin journal. So there we got 2 pages done. And again, you can take your either, a cutout, or you can do bigger, like let's just add an owl this big, cut out a color book owl. It could take up a whole page, or you can use, in particular imagery. I just think that if you do a color book page, especially if you have the napkin journal already based, then you can make this your color book or clip art image match or coordinate with your image. So I could color him, I could make him a green bird if I wanted to, and have him coordinate with the leaves, So, yeah, so just want to show you that. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let me move this out of the way, and let me gather up some pretty napkins. Or, again, you can do one of the girls, right? See, you could cut her out and put her on the page. Like we did on the big pages, the big napkin journal pages that we did in the 12 by 14 or whatever it was, Moleskine. So maybe we'll do another one of these. That would be this is a quick page to color is what I'm saying. This is a quick way. These girls are easy to do a quick page in a book like this. All right? Okay. So let's go ahead and let me sort out some napkins real quick. I think it'll be a beautiful book, Grammy. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to pick out one of a stack of different ones, right? So let's just pick out, you can see with the ones I'm picking out here, just getting one of every kind. And CB and Blondie are the ones that sent these. We get like one of each. So did I get one of these in here? No, it's one of those. One of these. I'm trying to get one of every kind. This bird one. Then that's the tissue paper. Let's see, did I get one of these? This. One of these. Okay. I think I've got one of every kind. I'm pretty sure I did. I think it's a butterfly one. Yeah, got a butterfly. Okay, so here we go. We're going to give away this nice little stack that'll fit in an envelope, even if it goes international. All right, so let me show you what we're going to do. Don't put any numbers in yet. No numbers. Okay, so here's how it works if you've not been at one of my giveaways. I'm going to, when I type in the word go, put in a number between 1 and 100, and the closest without going over will win a stack of napkins. And I know a lot of y'all have tons of napkins and go, oh, don't send me any more napkins. Well, don't participate if you don't have to. Nobody said you have to play. And yeah, so let me show you what they are. And only one number too, by the way, one number only. But don't put them in yet. I'm just going to show you all the napkins. This one right here is the one we did right there. Okay. So you can see all the different ones. So thanks so much, CB and Blondie, for sharing. Some butterflies, some lilacs, goes this way, tulips and flowers, and then some of the lemons and the blue there. All right. So again, you're going to put one number, okay? Okay, there you go. All right. Now, let me go get my while everybody's putting in numbers, let me go get my iPad so we can do random.org. Hang on, guys. Okay. Let me get, while everybody's still putting in numbers, let me bring up my random.org. So everybody can see. We'll generate a number in a minute when everybody's done. One number only. Yeah, one number only. Debbie. I won't put that on the recording, Debbie. Okay, I'm going to wait for another 15 seconds. And when I don't see any numbers, I'm going to put in stop. Everybody should have put in a number by now. You have seen it roll by, right? Oh my goodness. Herding cats, I tell you. Herding cats. All right, stop. All right, here we go. We're going to generate a number between 1 and 100, and here we go. Whoops, let's get that mine. All right, generate. 40. The closest to 40 without going over. So let Janet and Carrie and everybody, Carrie can timestamp. She's on Ice Chat, so she'll find you. Trust me. Carrie will find you. I love this one. I think we'll have to glue one of these down in the book too. It doesn't matter about the lag. You had plenty of time to put in a number. All right, let me get a Post-it note here so see who wins the stack o' napkins. And again, thank you all for that send postage stamps and money to Hubster. He appreciates it, trust me. He really does. All right, let's see. All right. I haven't got the results yet. Okay. Who was the first one that had 39? Who was first that had 39? Carrie and Vicki. First person without going over. It's the first person. Wait, I'm waiting on Carrie. Let them look, guys. Let them look at the timestamps, okay? Because, I mean, there could be 20 of y'all that put in the same number. So it's the first person. Sandy with the P. Okay, so P. Sandy. I think she's in UK. Or is she in Canada? No, she's in Canada, I think. Sandy with the P. Okay, P. Sandy. But, however, Crafting Amy, I think you're new. If you will email me your address, I'll send you a little happy mail too, because you're new. Crafting Amy, I don't think I've ever sent you anything. So send me your address, Crafting Amy. But Sandy won the napkins, but you might get a napkin too, or two. So yeah. Okay, so yeah. Crafting Amy, it's A-I-M-E-E. Crafting Amy, send me your address, okay? And then these are all going to Sandy with a P. Did we get that sorted? Both of y'all. Now I have Sandy's address, but Crafting Amy, if you'll send me your address, I'll send you something too. Okay? I try to be Janet. It's kind of the way I roll. Okay, so yeah, Crafting Amy, yeah, need address, need adding, okay. Did we get it? You're welcome. All right. So I don't know if you have my email there. Carrie can put it in again. So Sandy, congratulations on the napkinage. I hope you're going to make a journal with it. Okay. Now, oh, thanks, Peggy Sue. All right, so let's get back to this. I'm going to glue one more page down, and then I think we'll go ahead and let's do a quick color book page out of here, and glue her down and maybe make a little mixed media project out of that, right? All right, so this is what we got so far in the day book. This came in the book like that, right? This is the cover sheet here with the information. And I might cover this. Well, now it's got a little poetry. Okay. Then here's the cover sheet and the marbleized paper, faux marble paper here. Okay. Then we did the eggs and left some of the paper that's already in the book. So you just find a book that you're not using. This one just even happens to have a ribbon, right? So yeah, find a book that you're not using. And you don't have to cover the whole page. I'm going to do a full-on mixed media pages. But you can leave some of it where you could paint it out, or if you want to write, you could leave half of the page if you want. If you want to journal down here. I don't do journaling in my art journals. I'll put a word sometimes or something, but I'm not a journaler in my art journals. I journal separate in Molly's. So I don't really worry about, will my pen go over that or whatever. But if you're an art journaler, you do have to be concerned about, if you want to write in this, you can't write over these napkins, okay? You're not going to be able to write on this. So you might want to leave a space down here where you can journal. and then have your art above it, or vice versa. Cover this up and have an area up here to journal if you're using an old date book or whatever. I got a card with the dog bone. Oh, good. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Terry. You're welcome. Just a little, keep you out of trouble. All right, so let's see. I think I wanted to do one of those watercolory looking ones like this. Remember? Like this. So let's go ahead and do one of these, and then we'll stop and do a page. Maybe we'll use one of the girls and the bird. Okay? We'll see. All right, so let me go ahead and get a little piece of, see, I knew this was about out. I have another one, but I got two. I can get 2 pulls off of this little bit of tape here. Let me just stick that there. So just take a piece of double-sided tape and stick it on the napkin and pull apart. Okay, so there's the first layer. Okay, take another piece of tape, stick it on there, pull it apart. Again, Jean, I got this tip from Jean, and I don't know where she got the tip. She probably got it from somewhere else. I don't know, but I got it from Miss Sassy Pants. All right, let's see if I can grab it now. Come on. Come on. I'm trying not to tear it, too. There we go. There it comes. Don't want to tear it. Well, it doesn't really matter if I tear it because it's going to be journaled all over, right? All right, I did tear it. That's okay. There we go. All right, so there we go. Now let's take our matte medium. I'm going to have to squeeze out a little bit more. Where's the bird? The bird is from this color book, the Inspired Nature color book. I use this to cut up. I cut this up a lot. Okay. But like I said, you can get free clip art online everywhere. Just look up free clip art. Print you out something to, whether it's a bird or a butterfly or a flower or whatever. This is from a calendar. So, yeah. You can get free images everywhere these days. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Getting ahead of myself. Don't want to glue the pages together. All right. Almost glued them shut. Yeah, it depends. Sometimes the corners have a lot of texture to them, and it's a little harder to pull apart because of that texturing. It's like they're extra glued. They're like extra glued on the corners. So, yeah. You can try either one, whatever works. All right, so I'm going to put a nice thin coat over the whole thing. And again, it's going to be a little quick because I'm under 6 lights and a fan. So I hope you all enjoyed just, having a happy mail today, starting a little bit of a napkin journal, and we'll do 1 page. What time is it? Oh, we got time. We got time to do a page. Okay, we got time to do us a page. And the new napkin journal. We'll call this the new napkin journal. All right, so let's take the napkin, and I'm kind of liking. Let me cut it in half, because look at the design. I don't want to stick it in the book, but look at the design. See how it's like half on this side and half on that side? I think I want to cut it in half so I can be more strategic in how I put this, because I think I want to go this way with this one. Again, I'm going to mash it down, and this is already starting to dry. All right, so let me go and put a little bit more up here, because this is already, I can see it's already not non-shiny up there. And then I'm going to take this other section, turn it upside down so I have all the blue at the top. Just kind of overlap it like that. See? So I have from here to here. I usually start at the corner, and it works better. Don't know why. Okay, well, that's good to know, Peggy. And hi, Peggy Sue, by the way. Yeah, Peggy Sue, you had some happy mail go out, too. Sent you a couple of the little paper clips. I try to remember who I've sent what to, and sometimes I'll write it down. Sometimes I forget to write it down. But I try to think of all of you guys every now and then. Every now and then I think of you. I don't think of you all the time. But oh, you're welcome, Iffy. Okay, so anyway. And again, I'm doing this real lightly. I'm not bearing, I'm not pushing down real hard with the the brush, because I don't want it to tear. Not that it would really matter if it tears. Don't freak out. Just, glue another little patch in there. Glue a little napkin patch. A napkin patch. Oh, crack myself up. Okay, so I'm gonna. I will not be doing any musical interludes like APG Jamie. I think she had to go, but yeah, she's still here. APG Jamie. If y'all haven't followed her on YouTube, she does musical interludes. I do not sing. I try not to even hum. But yeah, if she's still here, she needs to put her link in there. But she does musical. Oh, no, don't make me do it. Okay. All right, so there we go. So I'm done with the matte medium right now. So I'm gonna put my brush back in the water because this will crust over and dry. Not that it matters, because these are my old paint brushes that I use for glue brushes, right? So when a paintbrush goes bad, it turns into a glue brush. But I want to put it in the thing of water that I keep just for glue brushes, because it'll get hard in a matter of minutes. All right, so I'm gonna dry this, and then we're gonna trim it. Yeah, my fairy treasures, Angie Bell, I'm going to draw her next for the my YouTube shout-out drawings. And she already got her picture. I showed it to y'all earlier. I think my team was, oh, there we go. And that'll probably be in 2 weeks. Because next Monday I got jury duty. So I'm still going to stream on Monday, because I don't have to report for jury duty till like 1:30 in the afternoon. So I'm like, must be the second shift of jury duty participants are called in. So I'll be the after lunch, segment of call-ins. But it still means I have to quit my stream by like 12 or something like that. And I don't want to have to rush Angie Bell's drawing. So it'll be the next week. Or if I get a chance during the week, I can do a drawing during a week too. So yes, APG Jamie is a hoot and a half. Next Monday is Memorial Day? I don't know. No, well, it's June. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no clue. I thought it said Monday. I got it on my calendar. Unless you get a juicy. I thought I have my jury duty date on the calendar. It's the first. I thought it was the first Monday in June. I'll have to go check on it now. Y'all making me wonder. Yeah, because I think you're right. I think Monday is Memorial Day, which I still stream on holidays. But if it's Memorial Day, okay, then it's the next Monday. That's right, because I wanted to do Angie Bell in June. And the first Monday in June, I don't know. Maybe it's the first Monday in June is my day. I'll have to go check the calendar now. Whatever day my jury duty is, it will be a short stream, is what I'm saying. But it's June. Thanks, Jean. Yeah. But I wanted Angie Bell to be my June drawing. Okay. And for some reason, I thought next Monday was June 1st. So she'll be the first Monday in June or during that week, depending on how much time I have. No, I haven't got called in yet. It's just my first initial call in. You get called in first. It's just the initial. I haven't. Might not even get on a trial or anything. Right? It's just you gotta check in anyway. Yeah, I'll have to go check my calendar downstairs. That's the only place I keep my dates. It's on the refrigerator calendar. I thought it was a Monday, but maybe it's not a Monday. All right. Still a little damp. Let me make sure I get as much as I can because I don't want the pages to stick. I'm going to go check my calendar downstairs. I got to get some hot coffee anyway. All right, so let me trim. All right, let me see. I got to be careful. You don't want to tear it because I'm going zipping ahead on other pages when I'm not really letting them dry. All right, so let's trim these out. Let me leave my things here for a minute. All right. Let me trim them off. Let's go this way. I have to have the scissors going in the direction of the page here. Yeah, I don't want to mess that up. Mess up my jury duty days. Although Hubster will say, you got on the calendar, you got jury duty today. Oh, okay. All right, there we go. Let's go this way. Trim it because it's got rounded corners, so I'm trimming the rounded corners too. Okay, oops, don't want to tear it. Let's go this way, turn it around, trim off all the excess, napkin edge, a little bit more, and you can kind of pick it off too if you get. I'm trying to cut as much as I can, but you can do it whatever's easiest. All right. There we go. Let's turn it around. Okay, Iffy, I'd love some Happy Mail. I love Happy Mail. We share all the Happy Mail. Okay, that's still a little damp. Let me hit that with the heat gun again. I don't want to accidentally glue my pages together because they're not dry. Do the back side too. Alrighty. So there's a little bit of edges that can be trimmed neater. Alright, let me go get some hot coffee and look at my calendar, guys. Let me go see my jury duty day. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, the first Monday in June is the 6th. So that's what was confusing. It's the first Monday in June, which is the 6th, is my jury duty. So it will be the next Monday or during the week, depending on, my schedule and depending on if I get jury duty, right? As far as drawing my Angie Bell portrait. The first week in June. I should say, yeah. No, jury duty's the 6th, Monday the 6th. So after that is when I will be doing the next portrait. Yeah, because it's for June. I try to do one a month. I'm trying to do one a month. Okay, so let me put this bit of matte medium away. All right, so let's see now. Pick up some of this stuff so I have some space. Take a sip of coffee. Flowers popping off the page, yeah. I know, it looks good, doesn't it? So I have to decide whether I want to do this page, though, or this page with one of the girls. With the, one of the big monster color book girls. And maybe a bird with it. We can put a bird on it. Put a bird on one of, in her antlers. So, like this, if she was down here, the bird could be up here. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm liking this idea, but I really would rather have a bigger face. I'm going to flip through. I'm going to save this one, though, because I like it. I like her, too. I like all of them. I like all of them, to tell you the truth. They all work great in the mixed media. If y'all haven't seen, let me show you a couple. If y'all were here a little bit ago, where I showed two others that we've used. The Big Monster Girl from Juliet Crane, her color book. A coloring book, Big Monster, 34 original drawings to color and make your own. Juliet Crane. So these are the two that we've done before on larger bits, right? These are large napkin pieces. So that's napkin around the edge, and you can see the size difference between this book and this whole page. But we're essentially doing the same thing. We're just putting it in a smaller book. There's that one we did, and then this one we did about a couple weeks ago. So we're essentially doing the exact same thing, just smaller scale. Okay, smaller scale. So I'm kind of liking her. Any of them will work because, because I'm going to put the girl on this side and the bird on up here, right? So it's just a matter of which girl I want to pick. Because I'm going to carry the branches all the way up. I like the little house. We can cut the little house and the moon out and do that as part of the thing too. I'm liking that one. And she's kind of looking that way. Although she's kind of giving him the eyeball. Oh, I liking her too. This one might be better because it's less jumbly. And see, it's going to go up into here. So this one might be better. Okay. This one will work too. Oh, any of them will work. I'm liking the look on her face. Pour some sugar water on it. Sugar water? I missed something, Terry. I missed something with the sugar water. I have no idea what you're talking about. I like the way that one's kind of giving them the eyeball up there too. And it's got a house. I think we'll go with her. We'll just go with this one. I'm going to mostly put paint on it, but if I do any shading with the face, I want to put it on top of a color book or something nice and flat. Remember what I said about coloring on top of here, right? It's going to texture it, right? So you don't want to color, you don't want to glue this down and then try to color it because you'll pick up the texture from the napkin. It's more textury than you can see on camera. Okay, and you'll be picking up that texture if you use color pencil. If you're just using paint, it's not, but I want to shade with color pencil. I'll do a wash with paint, but I'm going to want to shade with color pencil. And so I think I'm going to do her, and then I'm going to do the house. I'm going to do this all set, I'm going to cut it all apart and do it separate. But first, let me just kind of move this to the side. We're going to put a little paint on. Now I'm going to want her over here. Let me go ahead and just trim her out a little bit. because I'm going to blend her in with paint. So I can kind of position her where I want. She's going to kind of be right in there, so I'm going to cut some of that off because she's not going to go that far to the edge. And then I'm going to draw in my own branches where the bird is going to sit up here. Okay, the bird's going to be up there. Have the branch come across here. So it's kind of sitting in her hair, or her antlers rather. It's on Woe, Suzanne. I don't know that, Terry. I missed something. I'm sorry. I have no idea who Woe is. Okay, sorry. Y'all are talking about a channel I'm not aware of, I guess. And I want this little house. It's kind of maybe down in here somewhere. Right down there with the little butterfly right above it, maybe? I hope so, Vicki. We'll see. Because all this page is going to be so cool. Well, you know, we wing it here. For the most part. You know, and I do like the moon. I do like the moon. But I think if we're going to do the moon, we'd probably just paint it in somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it could, the crest, I wouldn't want the crest moon to go off the page like that way. I'd want it to go this way. But I think we might just paint one in. We'll see. But I'll leave it here just in case. All right, so now what we're going to do is just take this off, take these three things off right down here so I can paint them and color book them. Now, if I start shading with color pencil, I'm going to put the book under them. So I have a nice, smooth surface. Because even my desk is crunchy, right? So I don't want to color pencil. I don't want to color pencil on the roughness of anything. Oh, her! Okay. For the love of Kroger Girl. Okay, I didn't know her name was Suzanne. Sorry. I know I was the one that showed you the link of her last week, but I forgot. I didn't know her name was Suzanne. Okay. She is hilarious. That at least the Kroger video one was. Okay, so let me get a thank you for clearing that up for me. All right, so I'm going to get a palette here. And I'm looking at my colors here. Let me just kind of lay this out again just to kind of decide what colors I want. Okay. I'm not sure what color I want. Do I want the bird to be, maybe the bird could be, or she could be purple. No, I kind of like the bird, the idea of the bird being purple. Because there's just a little hint of purple. They could both be purple. They could both be purple. You know, her outfit and the bird. It's like she's eyeballing him like he's dressed like her. Why are you dressed like me? I'm wearing purple. Like Snap. I think we'll do purple. Okay. We'll do a purple. Now, let's see. This purple, I kind of want this purple. This one's almost gone too. Do I want this one? I kind of like this purple too. I actually like this one better. I actually like them both. I think I'll do a little bit of both. This one, I'm going to have to get a new purple pizzazz. Because I want to put a little purple pizzazz out. And a little dioxazine purple. I'm going to do a wash, right? I'm going to do a wash. So let me just get some water. Kind of wet it down. If I brush. Oh, I got so much new stuff. You can't get to anything. All right, let me move all these napkins off my table so I don't get them all wet with paint water. All right. Because I'm going to be, all right, let's get a brush and let's do a little bit of, just want to water it down a little. Okay. Same thing for this one. I'm just going to water it down. So we got a couple shades of purple. I like the purple pizzazz. Yeah, I like them both. So I'm going to use both. I'm going to use one for, you know, more of a shadow and one more for a, oh, I got some green in there. That wasn't dry. Okay, hang on. Let's start over. The palette that I picked up, I forgot I had some wet paint on it. Hang on, let me get a dry one. I don't want green paint. Let me get a dry one. I don't want green. I'll have brown if I do that. With the purple and the green, I'm going to have a nice pretty brown, which is not what I want. So let me start over. Get the two purples again. Because I forgot that palette was wet. All right, here we go. All right, so now we're going to water that down. Water this one down. Blondie tweeted that her and Katie. Oh, hey Blondie, thanks so much. Yeah, this is the second segment. We did a whole Happy Mail 2 hours. So yeah, make sure you watch. We appreciate everything you sent. And we're doing napkin journals. I guess you figured that out. All right, so, and I'm going to do some shading with color pencil. I'm just going to base coat it on here. And again, you know, I'm not going to spend 4 hours doing this, right? So I want the dark purple on the chest. It's hard to tell the difference. It's, well, I'll put some color pencil in it. All right, so we'll just let that sit up over here for a second. Okay, I think I'll do a little purple house. Just going to put a little bit of a wash on the little house, and we'll do some detail with color pencil as it dries. Okay, got a little purple house there. And then her, let's do this side of her dark purple. Kind of like she's got the same clothes on as the bird. They're dressed alike. I'm keeping it a kind of a wash here. I wanted a watercolory look, you know, because that's the watercolory look of the napkin we're using. And this will all be painted out with another color once she's glued on. Because I won't be shading in here with pencil, so I can glue that down and not worry about trying to color in that with pencil. And then her little crown. She's got a little purple crown. Reminds me of APG Jamie. Okay, so there we go. Now let me dry this, and then I think I'll, I guess I could put a little bit of paint on. I don't usually put paint on the faces, but I'm trying to do a little bit quicker thing here. So I'll go ahead and base coat her. Put a base coat of peach on her face. Now I'm going to dry her. Dry all the bits, actually. She's royalty. Yeah, Purple Angel, yeah. And you want to make sure that your paint is dry before you start putting color pencil, right? Make sure it's dry. My little house over here. Okay. So, doesn't matter if it curls a little bit. We're going to glue it all down. All right, let me move the paint. Let me move the book. Let me get some pencils. Stacks of paper. Throw that on the floor. Wax paper. Move this tray of pencils. Get to this tray of pencils. Okay. Move the scissors. Oh, sorry guys, bumped my head on the camera. Move the water. Move the paint. I have to clear a space, or I have no. Sorry, guys. When I have this clippy in my hair, holding my hair up, I forget how tall my head is. My head's taller with that clippy in it. All right, so now I'm going to get a couple of purples. I'm going to get a light lavender and a white. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of shading, just a little. Where's my white? And then a peach for her face, maybe some little peach, some pink cheeks, and a peach color to shade. That's pretty much it. This is all we're going to do. Now, let me get a paper, I was thinking of you, Dee, when I finally filled your pencil. I saw that. I liked it, Carrie. Carrie did her pencil tote. No, this might be too. Maybe I want a lighter peach. Carrie did her pencil tote. And it's all full to the max. Full to the max. All right, you're not probably going to be able to see much right here. I'll hold it up to the camera. I'm not doing a lot of shading. It's going to be very minimal coloring done. Stay over there, little bird. Minimal coloring. A little peach in her cheeks. A little pink in her cheeks. Maybe a little pink on her lips. Blend that in a little bit. Can you do a wash? Yeah, you can do a wash with watercolors, but you're not going to get that texture as much with watercolors as you will with acrylic. The tooth of the paper. Now, I should say probably if you use the chalky, cheap kids watercolor that's real chalky, then that's probably even better, the cheap ones, because you'll get that chalky feel to it. But that's why you want to have a page in every single color book in the back where you can test out everything. Okay, you want to test it out. But the reason I like putting the acrylic paint is because I've shown you 1,000 times, and I'm not fussing, I get the teacher voice, but I'm not fussing, is that you can't go over dark color pencil and get the pure white back. Like for instance, here's the little house, right? That's got acrylic paint on it. If that was colored with just purple color pencil, you could not do this. See how white that gets? You can't get that if you have color pencil. I'm just going to do a little highlighting on there. And maybe put some, let's put some orange in the window like it's glowing. Like we got a glow from the inside of the window. And maybe in the door too. Put a little orange. See? You like my teacher voice? I don't know. Because I've listened to myself gone back and I sound kind of like I'm mad. I'm not mad. I'm just like get into the explaining mode. You know what I mean? I start trying to get into the explaining of it so much. Okay, so where's my dark? I want a dark purple here. Dark plum. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's do a little shading. I'm barely touching, guys. It just doesn't take any pressure at all to put pencil over paint. No pressure at all. I could practically hold it with 2 fingers and you could see it. It's just no pressure at all when you go over paint. Now I'm going to take my lilac color and kind of blend that. Again, I'm not going to do a whole lot. See? Now I'll take the white and maybe I'll do some little white highlights on some of those little, I don't know if you call it texture, you know, just those little designs. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of, just add a little something, something, because I'm going to put some white little lines on the bird too, on his feathers. So it's almost like they're dressed alike. See? All right, so I'm going to shade on top. Just a little bit with the dark purple. Maybe around her collar a little bit, because he's got feathers, you know, around his neck. So we're going to kind of emulate the feathers on his neck and the feathers on his outfit. Like that. Hey, elk lady. Let's do a little bit more division of the shirt thing there. And I'll go in here with the lilac and just kind of almost make a feather effect. Almost like that's kind of feathers on her jacket or her cape or her shirt. Because that's what we're going to do on the bird. These same colors. Oops, I forgot one down here. It looks so easy not to do it. I'm going to take the white and just kind of give a little bit more whiteness to that. And then I'll go back over it with the lilac. Because this side's in the shadow, right? But I still want a little bit of something going on over there. Okay, I'm not going crazy with it. A little bit of white, a little bit of highlight on the crown. You know what we need to do? We need to put a crown on him. We got to cut us out a crown. He's got to have, oh, sorry guys, I keep bumping my head on the stick. All right. All right, let me just get my finger wet with a little bit of paint on it. That came a little purple crown. Maybe we'll put some stickles. No, we like that. All right, let's dry the crown. I'm back here. I think it's dry. Okay, now I'm just going to shade around the edge. I'm picking up texture from here, from my, so I say you gotta be careful when you color. When you color on something rough, you gotta be careful, you know, you're picking that stuff up. Okay, let's see. It needs a little bit darker. You pick up the texture of your paint, whatever's underneath. Okay, I think I want to outline it in black, like hers is. She's got hers is outlined in black. I want it darker. It's violet, it'll work. No, that's not dark enough. Because I want it to match his, right? I mean, match hers. All right. Hang on, guys. I'll check chat in just a minute. Let me finish this. See, it's not enough distinction. I'll have to do something else, some stickles or something. Okay, so let's see. Is that the house? All right, now let's go back over here to the bird. I want a little bit of yellow in his beak, or some yellow ochre or something in his beak. Let's do a little. And again, the reason that the white shows up on here is because of the paint. Reading your mind. Put a bird, yeah. Okay, so what I want to do is just like I did the little white and dark little lines there, kind of the idea of the feathers, is I want to do that kind of idea. So they kind of coordinate, you know, they're kind of like, so put some dark and some light featherage. And again, I'm not trying to like do a full-on color book page here. I'm just trying to do a little bit of shading, see? And I want his chest darker like her left side. I want a little bit of yellow on his. And again, I can tell I'm picking up some of the texture from here. But if I was doing this, if this was glued on this napkin, this is, I mean, I wish you could feel how much texture that is, which is good for the book. But if I try to color over it, like I showed y'all a minute ago, my test paper. Here, this is what happens when you color over this, right? See the texture underneath? So you don't want to do that with your page. But my table's not much better. It's a little less textury than a napkin, but not too much. That was my white. So again, I think I want some of these little white. Essence of featherage, and maybe a little bit around the I want it kind of obvious that they go together, right? Maybe this is who she is in the day, this is who she is at night. You have to make up your own story in your head as to what's going on. Okay, that's enough. I don't want to go, you know, I don't want to spend all day on this because I want to glue this down. And I will have to do something with, I think both their crowns need something, but I still have to blend them into the background, right? So let me do a little bit white area on his head so the crown will stand out from his head a little bit better. There we go. All right, there we go. Like the idea of the purple. Okay, so let's get to gluing. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Mylene's Tacky just to glue it down. All right. Oh, I need a piece of wax paper. Move the pencils. Move everything out of my way so I can shove everything over. Okay. We're getting there. Take a sip of coffee. You like the night and day? All right. Now I'm going to I put a lot of glue, but don't ever glue something down like this. Don't glue it down like that. You'll have bumps and lumps that'll show through the other side. You want to smooth all that out, all the way to the edge. That's why I'm doing it on the wax paper. Or you can do it in a phone book or, you know, any kind of old junk mail or whatever. And sometimes I'll miss a corner and I'll just go back and get those corners. But you want to smooth it out. Now let me move this out of the way. Put this back over here. And I want her right on the edge. And again, she's going to go a little bit over. I don't like to usually go across the page like that because it'll eventually tear. Okay. And it's going to have a little bit of texture, and you need a little extra glue because of the thickness of the texture of the napkin. But smooth it out so that you don't have a lump, because the glue will make lumps on your page on the front. Okay, so let me just make sure she's nice and glued down. Like, here's another little corner I missed. And sometimes it just takes a little extra glue on the napkin, because the napkin's like sucking in the glue, right? And it just needs a little bit more. So especially on the corners. Especially on the corners. So you want to put quite a bit of glue, but smooth it out. Okay, my napkin came up a little bit right there. Smooth it out on the back side before you glue it down. 20 years of practice. That bird, you like the bird, Shar? Why is your coloring so much better? Oh my gosh, girl. Well, I gotta say, the shading and stuff, because I do, you know, I've been doing art and portraits so many years, guys, and it doesn't take a lot of, you know, especially if this is just minimal shading, because I'm used to shading full-on portraits, doing color pencil portraits, right? And so, you know, I'm used to shading with color pencil. So a color book page is not that challenging. But that's why I love color books for everybody, because it's such a great way to practice your shading, your color combinations, your shading, your patience, all of it. And plus you can do mixed media as long as you just, you know, be aware of what kind of paper you're working on. There's so many benefits to me to color books. So matte medium for the napkin glue. Could use, well, here's the thing about using matte medium on the back. You can, but you have to be aware of what you're putting matte medium over. Matte medium will move any, like let's just say I made this a color copy. Let's say I just use an inkjet printer. I didn't want to cut her out of my book, but I wanted to put her in my journal. Matte medium will move your ink, your printer ink. It will move, and if you used watercolor for this or Neo colors, matte medium is going to move that. So that's why I'm just gluing with Eileen's Tacky on the back, because I'm not getting the front wet. You have to be aware in mixed media, if you're going to put matte medium over the top of anything, that it's not going to move it. Same thing with varnish. Varnish can move things that are water soluble or water reactivated, right? Still didn't get a shadow coloring even. You have to do light. My best example was Coach Marie, who tweeted out, "Wow, Dee Dee, you really do have to do a lot of light layers, don't you?" Now this is, you know, this is on top of paint, okay? So you also have to be aware of what you're working on top of. That's why I explain all the time. I over-explain and re-explain every time I'm working on something. I'm just telling you how I'm doing it, right? Because if you put a coat of, if you have acrylic paint down, and acrylic paint will not reactivate, but if you have a coat of acrylic paint down, that you can get so many more layers and textures and lightness with color pencil on top of, right? So that's why I could quickly do this. I did it like that because it was painted with acrylic paint. I couldn't do it that quickly. I could still get this effect that'd take longer with just color pencil. Okay? Yeah. Well, yeah, it is good for the memory too. That's true. All right, so he's going to be up here, and I'm going to extend all the branches in her hair. So I'm going to put paint on here too, and extend all these branches out. I'm going to put this little house down here. Let me trim it out just a little more. The flying around wax paper because of the fan. And I'm going to fussy cut this just for time's sake, so I don't have to try to blend it in as much with paint because I'm going to run out of time. So I want to try to make this, get as much information in the show as I can. So the little house is going to go down here. Sometimes it takes a while. Oh, no, Graham. I don't mind re-answering questions. Trust me. I do not mind re-answering questions. But I will say this. I get people, not so much anymore because I've explained, people know that this is a live show now. They understand that I'm talking to a lot of people, and new people come in and ask the same questions that I've answered on other shows, but they may not have known I've answered it, so they ask again. So if you hear me on the recordings answering the same questions a lot, it's because I'm getting live questions, right? So I don't mind answering them, but just be aware that it's going to be repetitive on the recording. I'm re-answering the same question that a lot of you have probably heard me say before, but I don't mind re-answering them. But just be aware that that's why I'm doing it, because it's a live show, right? It's a live show. Okay, so let me go ahead and put some glue on the bird. And I don't ignore questions, as long as I see them. That's why I ask you to put them in caps. All right, so let me get my wax paper here again so I can smooth out all the way to the edge. And again, I'll probably have to add a little bit of extra glue. Let's see exactly where I want them. I think I want them right about there, kind of in that spot. Right there. Because I'm going to paint in branches. Thanks, Terry. You're sweet. All right. See a little bit flipped up right there. It takes more glue than you think when it's on a napkin, because the napkin is sucking the glue out, right? So you really do have to kind of sometimes add a little bit more glue. All right. Oh, did I leave room for his crown? I forgot about the crown. All right, so I'm going to put some glue on the little house. Then we're going to put some more paint and maybe some stickles with the little house down here. And compositionally, I usually don't go right to the edge of things. But because the way that these girls are, right to the edge in the book, so I kind of go with that, when I use those girls. Or if it's on the big thing, I have to cover it up with napkins, because, it's cut off right there, right? But I love these girls. They're so fun to use. These Juliet Crane books. Oh, and by the way, I did finish another color book page that I did not do a... See, hers is kind of strong. I think I'll do his the same way. Or this could be a her, too. Could be either one. That I did not do a video for, but I did post it on Twitter and in my color book album on Facebook. But I was watching somebody else, their video, and so I said, well, I'm going to color while I'm watching their video. So I'll show you that. That's in the another Jasmine page. Speaking of color books, so in my Jasmine book, I've only got three things done in the Jasmine book, actually. I think three, one, two, no, I got four. Okay, now I have four. So the first Jasmine one we did was the Poppy Girl, her. Okay, so this was the first Jasmine color book page we did, the Poppy Girl. Okay, then the second one we did was the Mermaid. And the mermaid's got stickles all over, so you can see her glitter, her tail and all is glittery. So there's our second one. This is the Mermaid Girl. And you can see the stickles on her tail and her seaweed shirt. Okay, then the next one we did was the pirate girl. Here's the pirate girl, and there's a video on all three of these. There's videos on all three. There's the pirate girl with her tattoos and her leather and her, it's a little flashed out. There we go. Well, it flashed out again. Well. And then the last one that I did last week that I did not do a video for was the Princess of Bones. So here's the Princess of Bones. And I did her kind of zombie, right? Kind of blue. I did her zombie, but there's the Princess of Bones. And I did a little hashtag to make it almost look like, you know, kind of cheesecloth looking stuff. So there's the princess. And it is, sorry it's flashing out, guys. I'm trying to get the camera to suck the light back in there, but it's, but anyway, so this one is not, there's no video for that one. And I put fire around her. I think there were actually trees. There were actually tree branches, but I turned it into fire because, you know, you're the boss of your color book. And then I put the earth right there. That wasn't there either. So, yeah. So those are the Jasmine pages that we got done. All right, so let's get back to this one. And again, it's kind of curl a little bit until it sets and dry. They flatten out. If your pages start to curl, you can kind of roll them back. They'll stay back. Okay, I got a little bit of trimming right there to do. That's where I cut the page. Okay, so now let's put some paint on it. And maybe some stickles on the crown. All right, so first thing I want to do is paint in, I think I'll go with I almost want to go with the same dark blue that's in these flowers. Now let me move, you know, our little feather dusting Lulu. I don't want to get paint on her, and so I'm going to move her before I start getting paint everywhere. All right, so let's go ahead, and I think I'll go with, I think I should go with primary. It's kind of a primary blue, but it's not quite. It might be more. Ultramarine can have a tendency to go a little purple, but we'll give it a shot. All right, let's see what happens. All right, let me get a brush here. All right, so here we go. Will you use black pencil around the birdie and the girl? I probably wasn't going to, but if you want, I can put some black around it. And I know a lot of y'all like to use the Stabilo water-soluble black. I don't usually do that, but we can just so you can see the effect. I'm just not one to really outline things. I outlined the crown because her crown was, so I just gave it a little bit because we just drew the crown. But we can put some around. Let me show you again the other two pages. Just so you can see, here's the other ones that we've done. This one we just did a little scribble around. Okay, so you can do the scribble, but there's no water solubleness to it. I like the scribbly look rather than the wet look. You know, you can put the Stabilo around it and wet it and make it kind of bleed out. So it kind of has a shadow around everything. With the water-soluble Stabilo, however you want to say it. But I like the little scribbles better. So we probably, and maybe that's what you're talking about, the scribbles. So we can do the scribbles, and then this one just doesn't have anything. She's just painted in. That's just the lines that are on her normally, right? She's not outlined with anything. She's just painted in. Thanks, Jamie, for being here. All right, so I'm going to do her antlers blue. And I know it's probably not going to show up that much, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her blue antlers and continue them off the page, right? Or at least up into the flowers. Maybe behind that one. Okay, and the bird is going to be sitting on one of her antlers. So I'll have a couple coming around behind him. And I'll put a few little ones in there too. I want to get the big ones in there first. So I'm going to carry this one down like he's sitting on it. or at least coming out behind him so you can imagine he's sitting on it, right? Okay, that one's going right into the spine there, so I got to kind of work into the spine. We'll have a few coming down. Just make it whatever we want. Right? This one will come behind him, and I'll probably just have it come right off the page. And maybe just a couple thicker. I'm just kind of twirling the brush. I'm kind of going like, to make the branches, I'm just kind of going like this, and I'll twirl it, see, and it kind of makes weird shaped branches just by twirling the brush like that. It's magical. Well, it kind of is. You know, art is kind of, in a way, it's, you know, kind of your magic, right? You're creating whatever you want. And I like to I try to, you know, most of the time, leave the story for the person looking at it to make up their own story, right? So maybe we'll have this one come around behind. And have some different branches coming off. And you can put as many or a few as you want. Just, you know, play away. And that one's coming from behind him there. I tell y'all, I mean, anything I do, I don't, you know, I try not to hide anything from you guys. I mean, if I know a tip or something that works for me, I tell it to you. You know, it's like I'm not hiding any secret, you know, painting technique there. Maybe we'll have a couple little ones just kind of sticking up here. Maybe another one over here. I want to get the main ones first and kind of branch off. But it does kind of look cool, doesn't it? When you just paint in. See, because that's where the page ended. The page in the color book ended right there. So we're just turning it into our own. Just painting in the blue. And then just carrying it up off the page. And then adding the little branches. And while we're sitting here, while I'm getting ready, you know, in the next, 10 minutes or so, if y'all have any of your YouTube or website or anything you all want to promote and talk, tell the group about, feel free to post links. If you ever post a porn link, you'll never come back. But other than that, post away. We don't mind an Etsy occasionally, if you got some, an Etsy shop that we don't know about, or, most people are respectful of not spamming everything, So, but we like to promote everybody and their art and their groups. And if you have art classes you're teaching or selling, that's fine too. We don't mind promoting art classes. Put some spring leaf on her antlers. Well, that would probably be good, but I don't want to detract from the napkins. In this case, I think we did put some leaves on one of the other girls. But I'm really kind of trying to make her antlers almost look like this is part of her, So, but yeah, I think we've done some leaves before in one of the other 2 or 3 we've done. So I'm just carrying them all off the page here, following the direction and maybe adding a few more little ones. Have a few of them crossing over. My paint's starting to dry out though with the fan. The fan and the lights. But I appreciate everybody being here and hanging out, and it's just awesome. You know, everybody chats about whatever. And every chat day is different depending on who's here and what's going on in everybody's lives. Don't forget Jean comes on at 4. 4 Eastern, if I didn't say that. And if I want, I could go in and highlight some of these larger branches. I just put a blob of paint there. Now, I don't want to smear that because I don't want a big smear right there. Dot's fine. When this paint, when it's dry, I can go in here with color pencil. I can maybe put a little bit of extra texture or highlights on some of these branches. But, you know, using the napkin kind of as your base for, you know, where to take your branches. I'm just kind of looking at the flowers and looking at where they could be going and just turning them into more branches. And I think I want a little bit of grass down here with the olive green. Maybe a little bit of smeary, a little bit of green, extra green. Okay, let me just kind of look at it a second. Thanks, guys. I'm fun to hang out with. Well, thanks, Silver. I appreciate that. According to your daughter, you're fun to hang out with. Okay, I'm going to stop with that a second. Let me go ahead and heat gun it. Maybe I don't know, maybe I want a little bit of a light color yellow in the sky, give it a little bit of sun, a little bit of brightness or something, maybe, I don't know. And I don't think it really needs it because the white looks really nice, pretty contrast. But I want to make sure this blue is dry before I add anything else. Oh, thanks, Bryn. Come on, Char. Oh, 1:30 in the morning there. Well, thanks for being here. And send me your address, Char. Okay, so now I think I want a little bit of green, and it's kind of an olive green that's in here, right? So I just want to, just in this grass right here, I just want to put a tiny bit of, just the smallest touch of grass. That brush too big, with a smaller brush. Just a small, tiny bit of, it's not real noticeable, but it's noticeable to me that that's stark white down there. So I just want to kind of maybe put a little bit of olive green down here in the, maybe a little on the path there, just to get the whiteness off of it. Kind of ties in the green there with the green there, right? And you can always go back and shade in there with some color pencil, but make sure that's dry. Okay, so I think I'm just going to dip my finger in the water here and just get a little bit of the watered down green. And I think I just want to kind of, almost just kind of put a little bit of green around some of the edges here. I got to be careful because I got that skin color there. I don't want to dip into the skin color, but I'm just kind of touching the edges, and the napkin's kind of soaking up the green right there. And right there I can see where I missed a little bit of gluing. Either that or it's just got wet from the paint. You want to make sure everything's glued down well. But I'm just picking up a little bit of green on my finger, kind of going around some of the kind of bare edges. Just to kind of pull in a little bit more of the lime green, the olive green. Just a little, just so it's not a stark white right there. What? Yeah, what about your daughter? Yeah. Uh, okay. And I think around her hair, because I cut around her hair. So I'm going to go and put some of that olive green, kind of almost looks like in behind her hair. There's a little bit of green behind her hair. Maybe a little bit here on the branches too. I'm just barely touching. I'm just almost tinting the white paper. Just kind of tinting it a little bit in certain areas. Let me get a little bit more. And I could pull a little bit of, no, I don't want to mess up my blue branches. So I'm just tinting just a little bit of where the stark white is. I kind of like it there because I almost put a bird in there. But I'm just going to kind of, just with my fingers barely wet. See, it just kind of blends out a little bit so it's not a line. See the white line? I don't know if you can see it, but I can. And I don't want that white line right there, so I'm just going to touch it with the green. Watered down green. Watered down green. And just kind of here and there so that everything blends together kind of cohesively. And I really, tell you the truth, I should have some paper towel between there because it'd be very easy to glue these pages together accidentally without wax paper between it. Yeah, but I'm just going for, I'm high risk today. Okay, let's just get a little bit more green in a couple areas. Just kind of tweaking the edges just a little bit with a little bit of watered down green on my finger. Just a little bit of a wash, right? I don't even know if you can tell the difference, but I can. I kind of like it a little bright around her. I kind of like that brightness kind of around her head, kind of like a little bit of a light there. Gotta be careful though, I don't want to get it too. Finger painting, yes, the finger painting technique. I do a lot of painting and collage mixed media with my fingers. All right, and that, see that, look, see I got this napkin too wet right there with my wet finger, so I'm going to have to put a little bit more glue there. You got to, you really want to make sure everything's nice and dry before you start, layering up. But, okay, so now I smeared that. I tore that, so let me cover that up with some green paint. Have to let it dry. Got to be careful. It's just a napkin, people. It's just a napkin back there. Oh, okay, maybe I'll just put a little bit, I'll just put a little sunshine here. Let's see. Just a dab of yellow. Let's see where I want. I think I want the sunshine kind of up in here, though. Maybe here? Maybe? Let's try. Just a little bit of light over there. So you can see a little tiny bit of yellow, and if you don't think there's enough yellow down in here, add a little bit more just to kind of tie it together. Put a little yellow in the flowers here, just so that it kind of brings the sunshine in. Just that much. So there we go. Napkin patchwork, yeah. I think I'll put a little bit of sunshine on the path here, like going into the house there. Something like that. And you can also splatter. But before I do any splattering, because I do want to do some, because somebody asked about it, let me hit this with the heat gun. Then I'm going to do the scratchy, sketchy around them. And then I'm going to do a little bit of splatter. Not going to go cray, but just a little bit. So make sure all the places that I watered down the green and add a little bit of yellow. Make sure it's nice and dry. And then also, let me get my Posca paint pen. Let me move this out of the way. Hang on, guys. And I'm gonna put a little bit more highlight in the bird's eye. Just a little bit more highlight there. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of highlight on her eye so it looks like she's looking up at the bird. Look. See, she's kind of looking at him with the white highlight. Oh, I hope so, Sandy. You'll have plenty of napkins to practice with. Okay, so now, oh, the other thing I wanted to show, remember I said you can take your white, and because that's paint, you can go in here with the paint, look, on top of the paint, and do some little, like, branchy look, textury look. And I don't know if it's showing up. It's very subtle. I'm just barely touching. I'm just putting a little bit of extra oomph on the branches with the white here and there. Because it's paint, it allows me with the color pencil to go over on these branches, right? Just kind of here and there, just adding a little bit more. Come over here. Got to make sure it's dry though, you'll just dig in. You'll just tear into the napkins if you're not careful. So make sure all your layers are dry. Can you see how it's kind of giving it a little bit more? Okay, now what I'm going to do is take a pencil. Okay, and let me say this again. If you go over it with a pencil, let me get my kind of black here. Let me sharpen this. You want to, be aware of what kind of pencil. All right, so for instance, if you're going to go in here with your Stabilo, however you want to say it, water-soluble black, and do a shadow and wet it, remember that can re-wet. Your black, Prismacolor, you don't have to worry about that. But what I'm going to do is just kind of do a little sketchy, like lines, real kind of random, kind of sketchy bits around just to kind of give it a sketchy look. Can you kind of see? Just no rhyme or reason, just kind of rolling the pencil. Rolling it and, making it kind of sketchy looking. And if they don't like this look, don't do it. But some people like that sketchy look around it. Okay, so you can just kind of. But this is not water soluble, so I'm not going to wet this and move it. Okay, same thing for around the bird. I'm trying not to do it in the air because I can't do it as well in the air. But just kind of, sketchy lines. Give it a kind of a, I don't know, just a little bit more of a hand sketchy look. Kind of go around a few of the branches. Again, everybody doesn't like this look, so if you don't like this look, don't do it. Because there's really no erasing. There's no erasing this black Prismacolor on top of napkins. You try to erase something on napkins, you're going to tear right into it, okay? So, if you don't think you're going to like it, practice it on another piece of paper first. Okay? I did it on one, I didn't do it on another, so you can just, it just depends on what you like, right? See the little sketchy stuff? Yeah, rolling your pencil. Let me get the scrap paper. See, rolling your pencil can kind of really just make you not as perfect. See, you get thick, light, and dark, and thick and thin. But you have to be willing to live with the results. You have to be willing to live with what happens. It's not something you can. You get more precise with how much you do it, but I'm getting a little bit around the bird here. That's good enough. I like it. Oh, let's do a little around the house. Maybe do a little roll of chimney smoke. Go around the little bushes. You know, you could do a lot of it, but you know, don't. It's like a little. It's like the whipped cream. You know, it's like the whipped cream, kind of like drippage. When you do drippage, it's kind of like if the whole thing is like a waterfall. You know. Anyway, guys, so I hope y'all enjoyed that and enjoyed all the happy mail because I sure did. And I'll tweet a picture of it for you, and so you can kind of see what we did today. See how she's looking at him? Good light. Yeah, I guess you could do lightning like that too. Most of the time when you do lightning, you want it to go a certain direction, so you got to roll it, you know, roll your pencil, go in the direction you want the lightning to go. Oh, good, guys. I hope you liked it. It was fun. And again, this is just our little day book, faux ledger. And, you know, we just, this was already here. This was already here. Okay. And then we put these eggs on this page. Okay. And this one is just a whole page of these pretty carnations. Again, we could put one of those girls here and do a whole nother page just like we just did. Or another element. It doesn't have to be one of the girls. It can be any color book element. And it doesn't even have to be a color book element. It just makes it more personal when it's a color book something that you colored, right? And put it on top of your napkins. So there we go. So it's essentially the same thing as those other pages that we did in the big Moleskine, just in a littler book form. Okay? And then you just go on to the next one. But I do recommend when you're gluing the napkins, now I should go to the back, right? I need to go to the back and start doing a couple pages from the back because you're wetting that spine, and that spine is going to start rolling. It's going to start curling. So you want to do some in the front, some in the back, some in the front, maybe even a couple in the middle, so that the spine doesn't roll completely out of sync. All right, guys. Well, we will let you go. I'll see you all at Jean's Music Scrap. She's working on a book for her niece who just graduated from Canadian. Help me get this right, Jean, if she's still here. Canadian? Is it military? I don't know the exact thing. So I'm going to wait for, if Jean is still here, let me check. Her niece just graduated, and she's making a book for her. And of course, yeah, she's still here, but she might be napping. Are you still here, Jean? Where's your niece graduated from in Canada? And Jean's making her a photo album. I think that's what she's still working on. She might be working on something else now. She might have moved on to something else. But, oh, thanks, guys. I'm glad y'all liked the page. Try it with your napkins. Try it with some color. But take more time to make sure everything's dry in between, right? You know, like I can feel like there's a couple little edges I'm going to need to re-glue because I didn't let it dry completely. You want to let everything dry. So, it's just better. You know, really. The Royal Military College, yeah. Thanks, Jean. So Jean's all proud of her niece. And she should be. She should be. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. We'll talk to you later. Bye. We've used some of the pages out of the Juliet Crane Big Monster book. And, you know, and you can use napkins. So a little bit of napkinage in there and here. And so you can use napkins and color book pages. Or collage images. Either one or both. Okay, so it's a mixed media process. The little owls are out of the color book. She's out of the color book, and then but we use napkins as the background. The big flowers are all napkins, and then paint, paint, paint. Right? The thing is about doing something it's big. All right, so you know you don't get a lot of this is like a big one project at a time. Well, I want to try to do something in a smaller book like this where we can maybe get more pages, you know, at least start it. This is going to be a brand new napkin journal. So we might not get a lot of finished work done, but we're going to start it as a napkin journal. And then we're also going to do a napkin giveaway. Okay, all right, so let's see what else is in here. So you can see here's a couple of pages where it's just the napkin glued on. Okay, this is how they start. You can have them sprayed with some ink or paint, just scrape some paint on first, or just glue the napkins on and then start scraping paint and putting other things on. All right, let's see. I've got another one in here here's another one that we did with the Juliet Crane Monster, Big Monster Girl book. Well, they're not big girl monsters, it's big monsters, and it's just all different kinds of her, she calls them monsters, but I just think they're cute little girls. And taken a bit of that with napkins. See all the flowers? That's all napkins. All this is napkins down here. And now I painted in the clouds, painted in the background. So you add the black paint, the blue clouds, and the white. All that's just paint. So you can take multiple media and put it and make it a mixed media project using napkins, color book pages, collage bits, and paint, right? Okay, one other one that we've done with the color book page, and this one was out of the Somerset Studio color book, where we took this girl out of Somerset Studio. All this is napkin, some stamped dots there. All this is napkin. So you can just do all kinds of mixed media, right? So again, I've got all kinds of big pages, partially painted and partially napkins on them in this big journal. But I wanted to, so you can see, like I said, it's big. But I want to do something a little bit on a smaller scale. So depending on what you feel like doing, if you want to do a big page, do a big page. If you want to do a small page, do a small page. All right, so let me kind of throw this to the side, and we'll start putting down some napkins. And y'all know I have this here for focus, so as we go, because the camera doesn't like, it likes to flash out. Okay, welcome back everybody to Coffee and Art and a Clean Studio in the morning. I'm Dee Dee. Thanks for being here, everybody. We already did a segment on Happy Mail and a new color book. And now, with all the awesome napkins that CB and CB Carol and Blondie, Blonde Woman Stamping, between the two of them in this last Happy Mail and some tissue paper, here's the napkins we had to choose from. Well, I mean, I got other napkins too, but they're whittling down. I do send them out all the time. But now we have all this awesomeness to play with. So I was talking on the last segment about doing another napkin journal, instead of just using my big giant Moleskine. So this one, which I've deconstructed, and that just means I tore it apart in their individual pages. The size, let me get my clear ruler on the right side. This one is 12 by 15. And I've taken it all apart. And so you can see the pages are all loose in there. So I'll show you a couple I got to get my mind off magazine journal, because that's what we did last week. Napkin journals and napkin art books. So what we're going to do, and I'll still show you what's in the big one here, but I want to use this old day book, a faux leather from what year did I say it was? 2009. My sister sent me this for my birthday in 2009, and I didn't use it for a planner date book. But now we're going to use it to make it into a napkin journal. So, yeah, there's a few pages in there that are decorative, but they're pretty much all blank. And, these are literally dated specifically for that year. So there was January, Monday the 26th. It's not like a generic, you can put any day in there. It's specifically to 2009. So, I'm not going to use it, obviously. But what we're going to do is we're going to use it, turn it into a napkin journal. Some of the other napkin journals that we've used are these big pages, and let me just pull out a couple of the ones we've used. Here's one. So this was a page out of the big Moleskine that I just showed you. I need the lighting got a little dark. When the sun goes over the house, maybe that's a little better. I hope we're still in focus. So anyway, this is a napkin right here, right? A napkin, then we do paint, a little bit of collage, paint, drippage. And so this is using a napkin as the base for a piece of art. All right, and we're also been doing color book pages. We've done a couple of those. Here's one where we've used a color book page from Crane. Hang on, I got to get her books. I can't remember her first name. Juliet Crane. All right. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you, and I, as far as I know, I thought of this at least I thought of it back in the day. This is at least how many years ago? It was way before I streamed. So it was back in the scrapbooking days. And I love books that you could, do multiple things with. Well, I had all kinds of leftover papers off of 12 by 12 papers. So what I did is I used those 4-inch bits of leftover paper, punched a hole in it, and with the giant brads, and I just put clear packing tape over it to keep it from coming apart and to keep from, catching on that brad. But these are those big 2-inch brads. The big 2-inch brads. But if you put the brad in through the hole punched all the way through that paper, this is what you can do with it. You can have a book where you can flip like this and draw. Because this will go all the way to the back. Look, see, let me get a brown one. You see, you can flip it all the way to the back. So you can sketch, draw, write, make a written journal out of this, or a combination of both. And it's metal. So, now I'm sure with some wear and tear, I did put the hole back enough. Don't put it right on the edge where if you keep flipping it, you're going to tear the page out, right? And all this is cardstock. So it's not, it's scrapbook cardstock. So it's not going to tear like if you did it with paper, although I have made some paper ones too. But this is all heavier paper, so it's not going to just rip right out because this is those flat brads, okay? They're flat, this, you can see right there on the back, that you just open up, you just poke through, you punch your holes, and you can see how far down, so at least a 1/2 inch, right? So that they don't come apart. And then I just put plastic packing tape, the packing tape on to kind of make sure that doesn't catch or come out. And it'll stop it from twirling. Because this can twirl if you don't make it stop, right? So if you put packing tape on it, then it won't spin. I mean, the brad won't spin. You can still spin the papers, right? So these are 4 by 12. This is a 4 by 12, but you can make them any size. But you can get a lot. Look how much paper, and that's 2 inches of, well, maybe not quite 2 inches of paper in there, 1.5 inches. Yeah. So you can make your own little, book that you can either write in, flip through, whatever. It's probably very good for a collage book because it's going to get, it'd get fat. I mean, you could probably do it if you wanted to, if you wanted a thick, fluffy book. But it was, to make it flip like this really easily, you really don't want to put a lot of collagey, thick stuff on there. All right, so there we go. There's that idea. All right, so now let's get back over to using this. All right, so I think the first thing I want to do is I'll probably cover up the calendar here, although it's got 2009 there. I like to keep it somewhere, the information of the book, because somebody's going to say, well, what year did that book come out? Who published it? And if I got it all, covered up, you're not going to be able to. Yeah, it's a good traveling art drawing book, sketchbook, especially landscape, right? But you can make it any size. It doesn't have to be long. It can be, but it just flips out better that way. All right, so anyway, I think I'll start with this page. Again, I really have no plan. I don't have any color book pages picked out or colored or ready to go. I just want to start with doing some napkin gluing on a few pages, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so we'll do that for a while. If I get inspired to stop and work on a particular page, we'll do that too. But we got this big stack of napkins, and I want to put them, in the book. All right, so let me go ahead and get out some matte medium. And I use golden matte medium, and I put the golden matte medium in a dish soap bottle, and that's Sunset Carol's idea when she visited me, and that's what I do now. I keep my matte medium in a dish soap bottle, so that you can just squeeze out what you want, right? Now, as long as you don't get it too crusted around the rim there, it'll close and it won't clog up, okay? I take the lid off to fill up the bottle, but it just makes it a handy squeeze bottle for matte medium, right? And then I keep all my glue brushes in one water, a coffee jar, and they stay in water so they don't harden up. Okay, so they'll stay soft. Now, they're not good for paint or anything else, but they're good for just glue. But they'll stay soft if you keep them in water. These are the only brushes I keep in water. And you can see they're crusty, rusty, yucky, but they're just for glue, nothing else. I don't use these for paint, and I don't keep my paint brushes, which, by the way, I just got a new set of. Got the Artist Loft set at Michael's over the weekend because I needed some more angle brushes, and I go through a lot of brushes, and I buy the cheap ones because they are just fine for what I do with my mixed media. My nice brushes, I don't even know where I put them. Where are they? I have a roll of nice brushes for oil painting, which I put up somewhere. Now I don't even remember where I put them up. I'm not spotting them right now because I haven't used them in a while. But I have a nice roll of nice oil painting brushes that I don't use because I'm not really oil painting. Where did I put them? I'll have to look around for them. I'm not sure where I stuck them. Probably with my oil painting paint somewhere. Anyway, so I don't really worry about the brushes, is what I'm saying. All right, so let me just kind of set this to the side. Now, I will need some baby wipes. Keep my hands clean. And I think Jean told me, I forget even where she said she got the tip, but if you take a piece of double-sided tape, okay, double-sided tape, open up your napkin, you want to take off the backings. There's usually two backings. If you take a piece of double-sided tape and put it on there, they'll come right apart. See that? All right? And I don't keep the inner core. All right, let me get another piece here. Okay, and just put it on the edge. And it'll separate. Because I used to do this with a pokey tool. Poke a hole in the paper to grab it. But look, there you go. Okay, some of my scrolly stuff here. Hang on, guys, let me scroll. Okay, so yeah. All right, now a couple things about gluing napkins down. This is not going to matter so much. I mean, you can probably see a little bit of the lines. You can see some of the numbers. You can see through it some, which I don't care. This is a cream color, kind of a creamy color paper, as opposed to, let me get a sheet of white paper. So I want you to notice, when you do napkin journaling, it's best to put your napkins first on before you put a lot of paint down, because it will change the color of your napkin. It'll change the vibrancy of the napkin. Now, this is not going to matter as much, but I'll still show you the difference. Let's put the black right here. All right, so if I had a black piece of paper I was going to glue the napkin down, or if I had paint on it, dark or light, and I put my napkin down on it, just look at the color of the napkin there. Can you see how it kind of grays out the napkin? Compare that to now just even the cream color. Look at the difference in the color here and here. So you can see how much more vibrant the image is when you glue it on white, or in this case I'm gluing it on off-white. I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference between the off-white and the white. It'll be some, but you can see there again, you can see a little bit of difference between the off-white background and the pure white background. So just so you know that when you glue your napkins down, you want to glue them on a white, or in this case I'm going to go with cream, but it does change the vibrancy of the image. Can y'all see that? Yeah, it's a much better if you glue it on a light background, okay? Especially because look at the difference there, okay? But you totally lose the vibrancy of the image. Now, some people say, well, why don't you just leave the white background on? Well, I'll tell you, the main reason is when you put down your matte medium, and then you glue your napkin down,